From the dimly lit hallways of centuries-old mansions to the eerie echoes of long-forgotten tragedies, the enigmatic allure of haunted houses has captured the human imagination for generations.
In this video, we are going to explore the most haunted houses in America's history.
The Amityville Horror House. The story of the Amityville Horror House revolves around the reportedly haunted house located in Amityville, a suburban neighborhood on Long Island, New York. The events that took place at this house have inspired books, movies, and numerous discussions about paranormal phenomena. In 1974, the DeFeo family resided in the house. Ronald Batts DeFeo Sr. and their 4 children, Ronald Jr., Don, Allison, and Mark. On November 13, 1974, Batts DeFeo Jr. killed his entire family with a shotgun while they slept in their beds. He later claimed that he had been influenced by demonic voices in the house that compelled him to commit the murders. A year later, in December 1975, the Lutz family, George, Kathy, and their 3 children, moved into the same house, unaware of its dark history. The Lutz family claimed to have experienced a series of terrifying and unexplained events during their 28-day stay in the house. These events reportedly included strange odors, cold spots, eerie sounds, and even sightings of supernatural entities. George Lutz claimed to have woken up at the same night of the DeFeo murders, which was around 3:15 a.m., and heard disembodied voices urging him to get out. The Lutzes also reported that they found strange red room-like stains that would reappear even after being cleaned, and they alleged that the family's personalities were affected, leading to tension, mood swings, and arguments. The family eventually left the house, claiming it was uninhabitable due to the malevolent forces they believed were present. Their experiences were later documented in a best-selling book titled The Amityville Horror, written by J. Anson and published in 1977. The Litzy Borden House. The Litzy Borden House is a historical property located in Fall River, Massachusetts, that gained infamy due to a gruesome double murder that occurred there in 1892. The house is often associated with the rhyme Litzy Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. The story revolves around Litzy Borden, a woman in her 30s who lived in the house with her father, Andrew Borden, and her stepmother, Abby Borden. On the morning of August 4, 1892, both Andrew and Abby Borden were brutally murdered with a hatchet or axe inside their home. Litzy Borden was arrested and stood trial for the murders. The trial garnered significant media attention and became a sensationalized sensation of its time. Litzy's defense argued that she was innocent, while the prosecution painted her as a possible suspect due to her strained relationship with her father and stepmother. Despite the circumstantial evidence, conflicting testimonies, and lack of a murder weapon direct links to Litzy, the jury ultimately acquitted her of the charges on June 20, 1893. Litzy Borden's trial and subsequent acquittal remain subjects of intrigue and speculation to this day. The Litzy Borden house, where the murders occurred, has been preserved and restored, and it operates as a bed and breakfast and a museum. The Lalaurie Mansion. The Lalaurie Mansion, located in New Orleans, Louisiana, is infamous for its association with Madame Delphine Laurie, a socialite whose name became synonymous with cruelty and brutality. The mansion's dark history has made it one of the most notorious and haunted locations in the city. Madame Delphine Laurie was a prominent figure in New Orleans during the early 19th century. She was married to Dr. Louis Laurie and was known for hosting lavish parties and events at their mansion. However, behind the facade of wealth and prestige, a horrifying secret was hidden within the walls of the mansion. In April 1834, a fire broke out in the mansion, revealing a gruesome scene to the firefighters who arrived to extinguish the flames. In the attic, they discovered a torture chamber where enslaved people were brutally mistreated and subjected to unimaginable cruelty. Many were found chained, starved, and mutilated. The discovery shocked the community. The angry mob gathered outside the mansion. The Loris managed to escape before they could be confronted, and their subsequent were largely unknown. The mansion was ransacked by the mob, and the horrifying truth of the treatment of the enslaved people became widely known. The Lori mansion has since become a symbol of the cruelty of slavery and the abuse of power. The mansion has changed ownership and undergone various renovations throughout its history. It is a private residence and is not open to the public, though it remains a prominent and chilling landmark in New Orleans. The Winchester Mystery House. The Winchester Mystery House is a historic and unique mansion located in San Jose, California. Its history is intertwined with the eccentric life of its owner, Sarah Winchester, and her beliefs in the supernatural. Sarah Lockwood Pardee Winchester was the widow of William Wirt Winchester, the heir to the Winchester Repeating Arms Company. After her husband's death in 1881, Sarah inherited a substantial fortune, making her one of the wealthiest women in the United States. It is said that Sarah Winchester believed she was cursed by the spirit of those killed by Winchester rifles and sought a way to appease these vengeful entities. A medium allegedly told her that the only way to evade the spirits was to continuously build and never stop construction of the house. In 1884, Sarah Winchester purchased an unfinished farmhouse in San Jose and began an innocent building project that would continue for nearly 38 years until her death in 1922. The construction was unusual and labyrinth, with staircases leading to nowhere, doors opening into walls, and rooms with odd proportions. It is estimated that the house originally had around 160 rooms, although some were later removed due to damage and earthquake concerns. The mansion's architecture is a blend of Victorian and Gothic styles. Its sprawling layout and intricate design choices were meant to confuse and deter vengeful spirits, as well as to serve as a place of refuge for Sarah Winchester herself. The motivations behind Sarah Winchester constructions remains shrouded in mystery. Some believe that her building spree was a manifestation of grief, while others speculate that she may have suffered from mental health issues. The house's peculiar features and ongoing construction fueled rumors and legends about hauntings and ghosts. Following Sarah Winchester's death, the mansion was sold at auction. Today, the Winchester Mystery House is a popular tourist attraction, offering guided tours that delve into the history, architecture, and legends surrounding the mansion. The Villisca Axe Murder House. The Villisca Axe Murder House is a historical property located in Villisca, Iowa, that gained notoriety due to a gruesome and unsolved murder that occurred there in 1912. The house is associated with a tragic event that left an indelible mark on the community and has captured the interest of true crime enthusiasts and paranormal investigators. On the night of June 9 or 10, 1912, 6 members of the Moore family and 2 young overnight guests were brutally murdered in their sleep with an axe. The victims were Josiah Moore, his wife Sarah, and their 4 children, as well as Lena Stillinger, aged 12, and Ina Stillinger, who were friends of the Moore children. The crime was discovered the following morning by a neighbor who became concerned when they noticed no activity at the Moore house. The gruesome members shocked the small community of Villisca and led to a nationwide manhunt for the killer. Despite extensive investigations and trials, no one was definitively charged or convicted for the crimes. Over the years, various suspects were considered, but the case remains unsolved to this day. The Villisca axe murders had a profound impact on the town and the families involved. The tragedy left a lasting scar on Villisca, and the house where the murders occurred became a haunting reminder of the brutal event. In 1994, the Villisca axe murder house was purchased by Martha Lynn, who opened it to the public for tours. The house has been preserved to reflect its appearance at the time of the murders and offers guided tours for those interested in learning about the history of the crime and the alleged paranormal activity. The Myrtles Plantation. The Myrtles Plantation is a historical estate located near St. Francisville, Louisiana, that is renowned for its rich history, beautiful architecture, and reputation as one of America's most haunted houses. The history of the Myrtles Plantation is a blend of southern charm, tragedy, and alleged paranormal activity. The plantation was built in the late 18th century, around 1796, by General David Bradford. It changed hands several times over the years, with various families owning and residing on the property. One of the most well-known owners was Judge Clark Woodruff, who purchased the plantation in 1820. The Myrtles Plantation is often associated with the tragic tale of the Woodruff family. According to local legends and historical accounts, Judge Clark Woodruff's wife, Sarah Matilda, died under mysterious circumstances in 1823. It is said she was poisoned by a slave named Chloe, who had supposedly been trying to gain favor with the family by using a toxic plant. Some stories suggest that she had accidentally poisoned the judge's wife and two daughters. Chloe was reportedly executed by fellow slaves as punishment for her actions. In the mid-20th century, the Myrtles Plantation was purchased by the Marjorie Manson family, who undertook efforts to restore and preserve the historic property. The Wally House. The Wally House is a historic home located in San Diego, California, that is often referred to as one of the most haunted houses in the United States. Its history is rich with tales of both personal achievements and tragedies. The Wally House was constructed in 1856 to 1857 by Thomas Wally, a successful businessman who had come to California during the gold rush. The house was not only a family residence, but also served as Wally's general store and courtroom. In fact, it is said that the house's lower floor was the site of San Diego's first commercial theater. Despite its initial success, the Wally family faced various tragedies. In 1858, a fire destroyed Wally's store, leading to financial difficulties. In 1871, Violet Wally, one of Thomas Wally's daughters, died by suicide on the property. This event marked the beginning of the house's reputation as a haunted location. One of the more infamous aspects of the Wally's house's history is its connection to public executions. The house was built on the site of a former gallows where criminals were hanged. Thomas Wally himself claimed to have witnessed one such hanging before constructing its home. This history has contributed to the belief that the house is haunted by the spirits of those who met their end on the gallows. In the mid-20th century, the Valley House was designated as a historic site and museum. It is now maintained by the Save Our Heritage organization and is open to the public for guided tours. The house has been carefully restored to reflect its 19th century appearance, offering visitors a glimpse into the lives of the Valley family and the historical context of San Diego during that era. The Saley House. The Saley House is a reportedly haunted residence built in the mid-19th century and has changed hands numerous times over the years. The house's haunting is often associated with a young girl named Sally, who is said to have lived in the house during the late 1800s. In the late 1990s, the Sally house came to the attention of paranormal investigators Tony and Deborah Pickman. They documented their experiences and investigations, which included capturing audio recordings, photographs, and video footage of alleged paranormal activity. They have claimed to experience a wide range of phenomena, including apparitions of a young girl believed to be Sally, mysterious footsteps, objects moving or being thrown, electrical disturbances such as lights flickering or turning on and off, fluctuations in temperature, and feelings of unease and the sense of being watched. It remains a subject of interest within the paranormal community and serves as an example of a location where supernatural claims intersect with historical and personal narratives. The Franklin Castle, also known as the Tiderman, is a historic mansion located in Cleveland, Ohio. It is renowned for its distinctive architecture, dark history, and alleged paranormal activity. The history of the Franklin house is marked by a series of tragic events and a reputation as one of the most haunted houses in Ohio. The Franklin Castle was built in the late 19th century by German immigrant Hennes Tiderman. Construction began in 1881 and continued for several years. The mansion's architectural style is a mix of Victorian, Queen Anne and Romanesque revival influences, characterized by turrets, balconies and intricate detailing. The Franklin Castle became associated with a series of tragedies that befell the Tiedemann family. Several of Hennes Tiedemann's children died young, and his wife Louise passed away in the house in 1895. These deaths led to rumors and speculation about the mansion's supposed curse. Hennes Tiedemann was involved in various business ventures, including banking and real estate, which contributed to his wealth. However, his business dealings also attracted controversy and legal disputes. After the Tiedemann family, the Franklin Castle changed ownership several times and underwent various renovations in the 1960s. The mansion was part staged by the Romano family, who began restoring it to its original grandeur. As we step back from the threshold of these haunted houses and reflect on the chilling narratives that have woven themselves into the fabric of American folklore, we are reminded that the human imagination is a powerful force, capable of conjuring both terror and wonder. The legacy of these houses lives on, inviting us to confront our deepest fears, challenge our perceptions inexplicable, ever etching their stories into the annals of history and the realms of the unknown. Thanks for watching, subscribe so you don't miss more exciting videos coming in the future.